done standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
Like we always do about this time.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things. Yesterday's a hard word for me. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular.
All right, what do you say we take out the trash? You guys ready to take out the trash? How you guys doing? Welcome back to Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. I appreciate you for joining me. It is November 2nd, 2025. We made it to November, and I appreciate you for sticking with me throughout the journey. Let me see if we can bring in the old chat here. Say hi to everybody first off. Thank you to the mods. I very much appreciate you guys. Thank you for keeping that chat a safe place. Thank you, and welcome to people like Laurie, Boston Mary, Debbie, Andrew, Kristen, Don, Etch. What's going on, guys? What's up, Roxanne? Roger, Willie, what's happening, brother? El Rondo, Mr. Spock. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. Thank you so much. Before we dive into what we'll be covering today, just a couple show notes to get out of the way. First off, thank you very much again for the opportunity to thank you to Jesse Dollamore for allowing me to take his channel over for a couple days as he traveled back from Japan. It was a great honor. And I left a comment on one of the videos. Yeah, I'll bring them up here so I can, just in case you guys aren't aware of where to catch them. Throw these on the old screenage for you. So you just head over to, Jesse Dollamore's channel, Dollamore Daily, Jesse Dollamore, type any of that stuff in, and it should bring it right up. My videos are, I think, the last 10 videos that have been put out. So they kind of take, I did 8 videos, and then they combine those 8 videos into a full show, and they did those for 2 days. So total of 10 videos. So if you could go over there, give them a view, hit them with a like, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Jesse's channel if you're not already. That would be fantastic. We have gained over, or just about 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers, throughout this journey, throughout this venture. So I'm, very appreciative. I'm very grateful. Thank you to everybody that, may be watching this for the first time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the shot. It was a big risk for Jesse. I shall not lie, because I'm not exactly the most well-known person on the internet. So it typically when people look at these videos and they don't see Jesse's face on the thumbnail, which is what they're going there to see. Let's face it. Sometimes people give it a shot, sometimes people don't. But, even if it's more of a well-recognizable person, then, they might be more apt to click on it. But, it was a risk Jesse was willing to take, and I very much appreciate, him taking that risk and giving me the opportunity. So thank you again to all the new subscribers. Thank you to anybody that may be watching for the first time, and anybody that hasn't checked out these videos. Please make sure, like I said, go over, check them out, hit them with a like. It was a lot of work. Like I said, I've been more used to doing live streams here. So it's, it was tough to get back into the role or the routine of making, 8 edited, videos about, different subjects and getting those out at a certain time frame. So, it was very it was an anxiety ridden period for me, to say the least, but I hope I did the channel proud. I'm glad we got everything done. I'm glad we did everything up to par, at least. So I appreciate you guys once again, and thank you so much. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention as well, but now I'm blanking on it. But so why don't we get into a couple of the stories that we'll be talking about today, and then I'm sure it'll come back to me. So again, we'll be talking about Trump committing more war crimes in order to cover up for the Epstein files, more launches, more airstrikes, more missile strikes on more fishing boats. This time we'll talk about, we're going to have a bunch of videos to play as well. This time Preston Stewart has another video talking about how the United Nations is slamming the U.S.'s illegal strikes. Pete Hegseth was questioned in one of his recent meetings in Malaysia about these strikes. Rand Paul was on Newsmax. And again, remember how we've been talking about how, if Rand Paul is kind of the voice of reason on the right now, like, it kind of shows you where the right, the Republican Party is at right now. So we'll be just doing more. We'll be looking at that clip and kind of proving more of that theory as we go along, because I think he's on with Rob Schmidt, and he's kind of just giving him the facts as he sees them. And, it's pretty indisputable for Rob Schmidt. And Rob Schmidt, I haven't seen the clip, but I'm pretty sure that he's not going to have much to say in return. What else are we going to be talking about? There's a Majority Report clip looking at some great actions from a U.S. citizen, an alleged New York City police officer who kind of had an interaction with some ICE officers, I believe in a courthouse, in a courtroom. So we'll be taking a look at that. I couldn't find the full clip anywhere else. The Majority Report played it, so I'll be happy to play Sam and Emma's reaction to that. We have Candace Owens and Steven Crowder going head to head. We've been talking about this ongoing MAGA civil war that's been going on, raised by, not only the Epstein files, but a lot of what's going on between Israel and Gaza as well. And then, interject into that what happened to Charlie Kirk and the conspiracy theories going on behind the scenes there. The MAGA infighting with that. And it's really a recipe for disaster heading into midterms. And that, again, doesn't even have anything to do with the murderous, brutal, unconstitutional, illegal policies that the Trump regime is now putting in place in order to, again, cover up for Donald Trump's involvement in Jeffrey Epstein's life, Jeffrey Epstein's files, and the illegal crimes associated with that. There's also a clip from the I've Had It podcast. Don Jr. will be talking about. There's a bunch of stuff that we'll have to get to. So like I said, please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, feel free to wait till the end of the show. And if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, then you feel free to make your choice on whether or not to subscribe to the channel. But again, thank you everybody for giving me, the shot and opportunity if you are here for the first time. So what do you say we jump into it? We'll get right into it here. Our first video is going to be, again, somebody that we've been watching a lot lately. Not that one, but this one. Preston Stewart. This one's titled United Nations Slams U.S. Calls Caribbean Strikes Illegal. I mean, just kind of saying the least right there, obviously, as far as the United Nations should have come out a long time ago in response to this. But let's hear what, and again, this is, before I play this clip, let's just think about this, right? So again, the so-called President of Peace, and this is just showing you the lengths in which he's willing to go in order not to be held accountable for, again, what's going on in this country, also the Epstein files. Like the so-called President of Peace, he called himself. Now, what we've been seeing going on with the Venezuelan fishing boats, the strikes, the talks about removing Nicolas Maduro from his seat of power in Venezuela. We got the threats of the ongoing war with the Mexican cartels, right? We have now his new threats of going to war with Nigeria because of their supposed war on Christianity. Again, no mention of what's going on in Darfur, no mention of what's going on in Sudan. But still, this is supposedly the president of war. Again, as we've talked about on the show, the man that in his first, 7, 8, 9 months had already launched more airstrikes than Joe Biden did in his entire 4-year term. And then this is the man that we already talked about in his first administration that increased even above the percentage and the frequency that Obama was committing drone strikes, went in and increased that exponentially. Exponentially increased the amount of civilian deaths associated with our drone strikes. That being Donald Trump in his first administration. So again, let's put all this together. And yes, Jen, I very much agree. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava to you, Free Palestine. I absolutely agree. Just in case anybody's a bit, wondering where we stand on this show. But yeah, let's get into a little bit of this Preston Stewart video. Thank you guys again for joining me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And let's get into this one. Let me see if I can put this on the screen for you guys one more time. And again, this is about the most recent strike. And again, about the United Nations reaction to the United States' illegal strikes that they've been conducting here, which again, make absolutely no sense. If their main intent, if their main target is supposedly the fentanyl trade, then why the hell is Donald Trump in his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping giving them a 10% decrease in the tariff, the 20% tariff that he had put in place, taking that down to 10% based solely on what Xi Jinping said in that meeting, not by any actions taken behind the scenes to mitigate the flow of the precursors to fentanyl from getting to Mexico, which inevitably flow into the United States heavily through the hands of U.S. citizens that traffic it through over the border. Again, that needs to be a point that remains to be put out there as well, because a lot of it is, put back on, people crossing the border looking for a better life, when in reality, the vast majority of the drugs is being trafficked by United States citizens through ports of entry, and not over, these random, inhospitable places where, people are trying to get through and get over a simple fence. Oh, thank you, Slacks. I appreciate that. It was before that. Oh, thank you, Kristen. Thank you, guys. Pac-Man gave Jesse and Brittany the same opportunity. It's how I found them both. Congratulations. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's, it's very nice to see these bigger channels, people with, a big reputation, a big platform to worry about giving other people a shot, and making sure that these, smaller creators, i.e. me, have the opportunity to have their, platforms put out there, and, their opinions put out there, and, whether or not people can head over to the channel and click and like is totally on them. But at least, it gets the face out there. It gets people the opportunity to get the word out there and grow their platform. So I'm very, like I said, very appreciative. I hope I made that very clear in not only the videos that I made, but also the comments on the videos afterwards. I just, I can't say thank you enough to Jesse for, calling me and giving me that call, going to the bullpen and calling me in when it was unexpected. Gave me an opportunity to warm up. You know what I mean? So thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. And thank you, Slacks, brother. Slava Ukraine, Heroyam Slava, back to you. Love to you, Mel, Dungaree Dog, Logan. Love to all the Bryantologists. Thanks in advance for all your kind greetings. Great job guest hosting for Jesse Dolmore. Thank you so much, Slacks. I appreciate that. Appreciate all your kind contributions. Again, there's a Venmo up in the corner. You become a channel member just underneath me. There's patreon.com/Boston Brian. And now that all the self-promotional bullshit is out of the way, what do you say we get on with the show? All right, let's play this. Again, this is Preston Stewart, to give credit where credit is due here, since I've been kind of targeted for these, ridiculous copyright bullshit things lately. No strikes. I'll reiterate, no strikes, but, just stupid stuff. Preston Stewart, United Nations slams U.S., calls Caribbean strikes illegal. Let's dive into it. And then we got a bunch of other clips to get to as well. So let's go.
So the United Nations has accused the U.S. of committing war crimes during the ongoing military campaign in the Caribbean, calling for investigations and prosecutions of those responsible. But between you and me, I don't think anything is changing anytime soon. I mean, overnight, the Pentagon announced another lethal strike, and the president's 60-day window to get congressional approval for these actions expires today. And there's like zero coverage of that at all. Now, if you find these videos valuable and useful, the best way to support the channel is on Patreon. The link to that is in the description below.
I'm not sure. I think this video went out today, so it might be tomorrow that he's talking about, in which this deadline kind of lapses, in which the media is not discussing. Donald Trump saying, what was it, the 60-day window, he said, in which, kind of had to address on whether he's going to decide if he needs Congress's approval or not.
Let's dive in to what we know. Just a couple days ago, according to the Associated Press, the UN human rights chief said that U.S. military strikes against boats in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific allegedly carrying illegal drugs from South America are unacceptable and must stop. In fact, we have a video from the United Nations laying that out in their own words. Here we go.
Airstrikes by the United States of America on boats in the Caribbean and in the Pacific violate international human rights law. Over 60 people have reportedly been killed in a continuing series of attacks carried out by U.S. armed forces against boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific since early September, in circumstances that the UN human rights chief says find no justification in international law. These attacks and their mounting human cost are unacceptable. The United States should investigate and, if necessary, prosecute and punish individuals accused of serious crimes in accordance with the fundamental rule of law principles of due process and fair trial, for which the U.S. has long stood.
Now, this information.
And this is a point that we've brought up here as we talked about the 2 survivors from one of the previous strikes, and there was another singular survivor from another more recent strike. But again, these people are just being repatriated. They're being sent back to their country of origin or their home country without being prosecuted. Again, these people are supposedly, and Pete Hegseth will have a segment here where Pete Hegseth is questioned on this exact thing. It might even be brought up in this exact video here with Preston as well. But their question as to, okay, if you have overwhelming evidence pointing to these people that you're, so willing to kill, right? If you have evidence that is so prominent and says not only should these people so bad, but they're so bad that they shouldn't even be intercepted. They should just be killed outright. with a missile, with an airstrike, then why are these surviving members of the strikes not being prosecuted as criminals, as, narco terrorists? Like, wouldn't you want to hold up some sort of evidence, that you found in the water to corroborate what you've been saying in the news? Like, we've seen absolutely nothing to suggest anything whatsoever. And again, the only evidence that we have, again, these people being repatriated to the country, suggests that they don't have the overwhelming evidence, right? Or these aren't the people who they thought they were. They weren't there for the reasons that they thought they were. Otherwise, they would be prosecuted. No? Like, one doesn't make sense when you talk about the other in this. And it's something we've brought up continuously on this show. And it's good to see, the reporters start asking questions about it and people being like, well, and I think there's even a couple moments here by some Republican politicians as well, where they're calling it out like, okay, well, yeah, Rand Paul as well, where it's like, if you got these people, why are they not being prosecuted? Why are the people that survived these strikes not being held up as like examples of, what you've found as evidence to suggest these people are, transporting what you think they're transporting, or work for the people that you say they work for? But it's crazy that, we continue to allow this to happen. And then the international community, again, hasn't spoken out till, before this moment, or at least loud enough for anybody to hear up until this moment.
Came out the same day that we got news that President Trump had authorized military strikes inside of Venezuela. The Miami Herald reported, quote, "The Trump administration has made the decision to attack military installations inside of Venezuela, and the strikes could come at any moment." Sources with knowledge of the situation told the Miami Herald, as the U.S. prepares to initiate the next stage of its campaign against the Soles.
President of Peace, ladies and gentlemen. President of Peace. America first, America only, the isolationists, which is why he's having so much trouble in and around his own party as well, right? Because this is absolutely not what he told his base. This is absolutely not what he promised his base. Right? He's trying to make it seem like that's what he promised by, getting rid of but they didn't vote to have the military be put in danger for, again, fucking a 20-foot Venezuelan fishing boat with two 50 horsepower outboard engines that couldn't possibly carry enough fuel, even if it fucking wanted to get to the border of the United States. The thing would have to, somebody mentioned, it would probably have to refill its stop like 15, 20 times or something crazy like that, with those sort of engines to make it that sort of distance, carrying that sort of cargo. I mean, it doesn't even factually make any sense, numerically, statistically. It doesn't, no matter which way you slice this up, it's not making any sense. Because again, if fentanyl is supposed to be the number one, target, the number one thing, the number one most dangerous drug that's killing people on the streets nowadays, why are we not more aggressively going after China, that we know where the precursors come from? Again, wouldn't it make more sense? And again, this is not what I'm advocating for. But again, this is just to show the utter hypocrisy of this situation. Wouldn't it make more sense? Wouldn't it be like more prudent of them? Like it would almost, again, be almost like you could almost see what the hell they're talking about. They're like, okay, we took out this Chinese cargo ship that would supposedly carry in 20 tons of precursors to fentanyl that was going to Mexico, but they're not even doing that. Like, going after these 20-foot fishing boats is like, again, even if you were to take out the whole fleet, wouldn't even scratch the surface, right? Wouldn't even put a dent in the drugs that are coming into this country from, again, from different ports, through different ports. It's crazy. It's crazy to even suggest that it would have some fucking effect either.
Cartel. Sources told the Herald that the targets, which could be struck by air in a matter of days or even hours, also aimed to decapitate the cartel's hierarchy. While sources declined to say whether Maduro himself is a target, one of them said that his time is running out. Quote, "Maduro is about to find himself trapped and might soon discover that he cannot flee the country even if he decided to. What's worse for him..."
Maduro is about to find himself trapped. Now, is that not pretty straightforward language? Right now, is that not giving Nicolas Maduro like ample reason in order to use whatever military justification he deems fit in that area? Like, he's got a country actively talking about his removal or pinning him in a situation that's going to get him trapped, actively surrounding his country with warships and fucking B-52s, talking about CIA intervention. I mean, what would you do? And again, we all have our gripes and concerns and things that we could talk about in terms of Nicolas Maduro, in terms of Venezuela, in terms of their governance, their country and stuff like that. Everybody could, there's no secret to that, but that doesn't mean that we have the right right, to go in there and just force our way militarily into a regime change so that we can gain a hold of their oil supply. I mean, what is the real intentions here? Because again, if even taking out their entire fleet wouldn't put a dent in the drug trade, the drugs coming into this country, you have to question what the real intentions for this military action, especially when we have, amphibious ships meant for amphibious landings. We got, people and troops trained for amphibious landings in the area. Again, we talked about the CIA interventions and giving them fucking carte blanche to kind of roam around Venezuela and do as they please, basically. I mean, how do you add this all up and then again turn around and say that this is aimed at the drug trade? It just again makes absolutely no sense.
There is now more than one general willing to capture and hand him over, fully aware that one thing is to talk about death, another is to see it coming. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio came out pretty quickly to say, quote, "Your sources claiming to have knowledge of the situation tricked you into writing a fake story." We'll see. I mean, we had this happen before. If you remember when Israel began their bombing campaign against Iran, I think it was when Israeli jets were in the air, President Trump was talking about the next stage of the negotiation. So there are deception tactics here at play, no doubt. And we did see, as this news came out, increased reports of increased GPS jamming around Venezuela. Some countries in the area heightened their military posture, and we saw some airspace closures in the area that would suggest areas that could be used for military action. So we've talked about it for quite a while on this channel. The next step in this campaign, more than just striking the occasional drug boat, or every day now at this point, is going after military targets, likely cartel targets inside of Venezuela itself. We should expect that as the next phase. Now, overnight, Secretary Hegseth...
Again, let's just call that what it is. That is open and aggressive warfare against a sovereign nation. I mean, is that plain and clear, right? Taking out even targets that we deem, military targets or necessarily I mean, that's still what it is. It's open and active warfare. I mean, let's just call it what it is, again, without the approval of Congress. And I'll skip ahead here because he talks about this too, right here, where he talks about this deadline too.
Or even the initial use of military force. It sounds like this week, the head of Trump's Office of Legal Counsel, T. Elliott Gazer, told lawmakers that they can continue its lethal strikes and is not bound by decades-old laws requiring Congress to give approval for ongoing hostilities.
Not bound by the rules and the rules of Congress and the laws that have been in place for decades here, right? The Office of Legal Counsel told select lawmakers that the executive branch is not bound by the War Powers Resolution, which requires congressional approval for any military action that exceeds 60 days, right? Just one of the areas in which this is unconstitutional, illegal, against international law, against the rules of war, violates the Geneva Convention. Again, just the list is growing by the day in which this administration can be prosecuted for war crimes. It continues.
They don't need to. They're good to go. The rationale he gave...
And this just shows you how bad the Epstein files must be, right? This just shows you how much involvement Trump has in the Epstein files and how egregious his involvement must be, because they put these two options on the table. They say, okay, we have war crimes and we have the Epstein files. Which would you rather give the media? Which would you rather give, the international fucking press? Which would you rather give the United States to talk about? Oh, the war crime? Okay, we'll go with the war crimes. Let's do the war crimes. We can focus on the war crimes. We could probably talk our way out of the war crimes. Let's do everything we possibly can to shelf this Epstein file thing. That way nobody talks about that ever again. So they've literally picked war crimes over the Epstein files at this point, right? There's really no other way to go about talking about it. It's like they're much more comfortable with this. They're much more okay with this, and they think they can get away with this a lot easier than explaining Donald Trump's involvement in friendship with Jeffrey Epstein and why, again, they've used like 1,000 agents to go and cover up his name and all the files, and Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino talked about releasing it and having it. Pam Bondi said she had it on her desk, but now it's not talked about anymore. Not talked about anymore.
They said the officials said the administration does not believe U.S. troops are in danger in the ongoing operation, so the law did not apply. Quote, the operation comprises precise strikes conducted largely by unmanned aerial vehicles launched from naval vessels in international waters at distances too far away for the crews of the targeted vessels to endanger American personnel.
All right, because I'm just going to play that for you one more time. And this is the excuse that the Trump lawyer gave, or the reason the Trump lawyer gave, as to why they don't need congressional approval. And I'm going to play it one more time. And I want you to fucking listen and think about how crazy this is, right? One more time.
Law did not apply. Quote, the operation comprises precise strikes conducted largely by unmanned aerial vehicles launched from naval vessels in international waters at distances too far away for the crews of the targeted vessels to endanger American personnel.
So basically what he's saying is any engagement, any action that they see doesn't or deem to not put any U.S. military service member in danger, anything that's, launched by a drone, that does not count as an act of war. That does not count. That does not need congressional approval. So again, let's just any drone strike, any missile strike, right? So that's basically what they're saying. Any attack where it's launched from far away enough where the ship or the person, sitting 1,000 or 10,000 miles away in some booth controlling the drone or controlling that fucking, controlling that missile or whatever the fuck, right? As long as they're not put in direct danger, then this can't be considered an act of war. This can't be considered, a military strike. This can't be, the congressional approval is not deemed necessary for this. So that's basically everything that we do, right? So every drone strike, every missile attack, like from here on out, nobody needs congressional approval because they say, and this is even more ridiculous because we do have, 10,000 soldiers plus in the area, multiple warships, submarines, B-52s, CIA. I mean, these people are in active harm's way, right? So again, we always talk about having two militaries within this close of proximity is inherently dangerous. So at any moment now, some fucking random Venezuelan soldier hearing what he's hearing on the news gets fucking disgruntled and sees a warship or a plane or, a military vehicle, whatever it may be, decides to take it upon himself to fire upon that vehicle. They fire back. Next thing you know, we get an international incident. I mean, you can see how easily this thing kind of kicks off into something much larger and much more dangerous when you have, when you have militaries in this close proximity, even friendly militaries, but especially in the case where they're not friendly, and you have this type of rhetoric going back and forth, it's extremely dangerous. And to say that no U.S. soldier right now is in harm's way is just is actively being an insane person to think.
They quote Brian Finnecane, a former legal advisor to the State Department, who said, quote, what they're saying is anytime the president uses drones or standoff weapons.
Sorry, my apologies. Let me put this back on the screen for you guys. Go back 1 second. I do that all the
time. They quote Brian Finnecane, a former legal advisor to the State Department, who said, quote, what they're saying is anytime the president uses drones or standoff weapons against someone who cannot shoot back, it's not hostilities. It's a wild claim of executive authority. And
right. So basically at any point, so if we launch an attack at a point or from a position in which they're not able to shoot back, we're good. Like we don't have to talk. We don't have to tell anybody. We don't need a congressional approval for that. It's not actually an act of war. It's not, a military strike so much. It's just kind of us doing our thing, I guess. And, I mean, they don't realize what they're setting up for in the future, right? They still don't. And a few of these Republicans do understand because one of the questions at one of the Turning Point cult conventions the other day was like, okay, these powers that you're using. I think it was a question asked of J.D. Vance by some kid where he's like, okay, these powers that you guys are using and espousing, whether it be with the Venezuelan strikes or with, what's going on with ICE, like, can't these all be things that could be turned around, if and when a Democrat gets into office? And of course, JD had his bullshit propaganda, response to that. But it's a thing that a lot of these people are now thinking, where it's like, okay, if we're talking about giving the president all of this power, like we have to be ready and willing to accept this if and when another Democrat gets into the White House, right? And a lot of them aren't really liking that thought, aren't too happy with that thought, and I'm sure are going to do their best to kind of crack down and clamp down on the powers that they use themselves to get away with these illegal and unconstitutional strikes, so forth. And again, and not be afforded, those powers will not be afforded to people, in the other party that may get into office. So what do you say we dive into this next clip too? Because I think this is pretty good to show here, where I'm not sure what this gentleman's name is, and this is from a Midas Touch video where it's titled "GOP Shocks Trump by Turning Against Him When He Left." So I'm assuming this is a Republican here. Again, I apologize if I'm not familiar with them. I can't be up to speed on every single one of these politicians. But what he says, at least, I believe, will kind of give you some insight as to the way some of the Republicans, or at least some of the people in Congress, are feeling about this. Let me play this. This is a really quick clip, and then we'll get on to this Pete Hegseth being questioned about the survivors and why they're not being prosecuted in this clip and this next one. So what do you say we dive into this? Let's let this play.
Obvious why a target list is classified. Why is the legal rationale?
I don't have any freaking idea.
Well, let me go back so you can hear the question here. I'll let Ben set it up.
Legal justification that was provided.
So that brings me to Democratic Senator Warner, who was livid about the way that this briefing.
Oh, that's who it was? I didn't even recognize him. That was Mark Warner?
Regarding the Venezuelan fishing boats.
My apologies. For some reason, I didn't catch that one right off the bat. I didn't think that was him.
Here's what Warner said. Here, play this clip.
It's obvious why a target list is classified. Why is the legal rationale?
I don't have any freaking idea.
I guess I probably should have known as soon as he spoke. That's my fault. Yeah, that's my fault. That's on me, Josh. That's on me. Right hand up. Right hand up. That's a right hand up moment. It's a right hand up moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put that one really high. I'm going to put that one really high. Right hand. Not too many people. I mean, I should be able to close my eyes and hear the voice, and I probably should have known who it was. So that's my apologies. Because I only saw at the beginning of the video where it was kind of paused and he was off to the side. So that was my bad.
If you've got a valid legal opinion, wouldn't you want to share it with every member? If you believe, I think the administration does, that we know these guys are bad guys, wouldn't you want to catch them and show the world the drugs and show their history of bad activities? The idea that they were afraid, I guess, of a War Powers Act, and they're going to cherry pick Republican senators and share it only with them. Come on, we've been doing this stuff for a while. It's never worked this way. This is U.S. government 101. And frankly, not to be divided and used as political pawns. And the truth is as well, my Republican colleagues bear responsibility as well.
Oh, he didn't have his glasses on either. That's another excuse that I'm going to use. Didn't have his glasses on in the first one.
You know, every senator, regardless of party, should have a say on how military force is used. And frankly, Congress has a right and obligation to understand the legal basis. You know, my proudest tenure has been on the Intelligence Committee, and I am proud of its record. I've served under Democrats, Republicans, I'm the chair of the committee. I can tell you, Saxby Chambliss, Dianne Feinstein, Richard Burr would have never allowed this to happen. So the question I got from my Republican senators, if you're sitting in this room getting clearly what had been prior gang of 8 level classified information, didn't somebody raise their hand and say, well, holy crap, where are the Democrats? Who was willing to say, you know, isn't there a constitutional obligation here? You know, it is about separation of powers. For the folks who wave their constitution around, read the damn thing and then explain why you would sit through that briefing and not call foul.
Well, let me know what you think. But
I mean, it's all things that we've brought up on this show, right? Like, why wouldn't you want to hold these people to account? Why wouldn't you want to, again, bring them to justice, and them being the survivors that we talk about of these, unconstitutional strikes? And again, if you're willing to go to the lengths of killing these people, again, before approaching them, before intercepting them, before identifying them, before identifying what they're carrying, before identifying their intentions, before identifying their fucking destination. Like, if you're willing to go to that levels right off the bat, then the people that survived, you would think, would be prosecuted for those egregious acts that were so egregious. It was, it was determined that, killing them was the right thing, or the only thing that could be, that is, the only action deemed necessary in this event is to take them out, right? But again, somehow the people that survived those strikes are, repatriated, are just kind of given a free pass back to the home country, said sorry, and, sorry about that, dry off a little bit, and we'll ship you home. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and it's good to see, and I apologize but A, Mark Warner didn't have his glasses on to begin with, and B, I didn't hear him speak before I played the clip. I always try to play it with you guys, so give me a break. My apologies. My apologies. But it goes on. right? Because, the press is kind of now talking about this like, well, not only do we know these are unconstitutional and illegal and you guys have killed more than 60 people at this point, but why in the hell would you not, again, take these people into custody and prosecute if you say you have all this evidence, if you say you know so much about them, if you say you're so sure about their intent that you're willing to kill them? Why would you repatriate the people that survived those attacks? Right? Something that we've been talking about. Let's put this on because this is where Pete Hegseth is question about. This is a Time of India titled Nuclear Test Means War. And again, we don't have to play the whole thing. I think it's right at the end that he's questioned, but I'll play a couple parts of this. Let's go on and see what Pete Hegseth has to say. And again, this is in his meeting in Kuala Lumpur.
But the president was clear. We need to have a credible nuclear deterrent. That is the baseline of our deterrence. And so having understanding and resuming testing is a pretty responsible, very responsible way to do that. I
just wanted to play that first clip there because essentially what he's saying is they have absolutely no idea about our nuclear capabilities, or they're trying to assume that we don't know about our nuclear capabilities until we start testing them again. Which again, these things are all maintained, tracked, fucking tested. I'm sure they have their own specific routines of maintenance and people that are, highly trained to work around these units and stuff like that. But Pete here says that, and I think he kind of messes up with what he says. He basically says that we're not really sure at this point, so that's why we have to start testing again, which is not anything you really want to put out into the public sphere, is you're not really sure about your, nuclear capabilities or, the effectiveness or even if they work at this point.
But the president was clear. We need to have a credible nuclear deterrent. That is the baseline of our deterrence. And so having understanding and resuming testing is a pretty responsible, very responsible way to do that. I think it makes...
Like they don't have understanding now. Like the military doesn't have understanding now. It's just ridiculous. But let me scroll to the end here because I think that's where he's asked this question about these the boat strikes here.
Strikes. Did the U.S. have enough evidence, decided not to prosecute?
In that threat.
Right here.
We're not
Check this out. Listen.
So.
On the strikes, Ecuador decided not to prosecute one of the survivors of the previous strikes. Did the U.S. have enough evidence to identify that individual as a drug trafficker? And if so, why did the U.S. not try him in court?
So now what she's asking is the Ecuadorian military, the Ecuadorian government decided not to prosecute against the person that you sent back to Ecuador that survived one of these illegal strikes, right? So why, again, didn't you yourselves, the United States, prosecute this person if you yourselves, the United States, say you have overwhelming evidence to suggest that this person is a narco-terrorist and, and came over here intent to distribute drugs, intent on killing Americans by the dozens, by the millions, whatever the hell. But again, he has no answer for this.
Have the evidence. One thing that's been highly misconstrued here is that in some way we don't know precisely who we're striking and why, what those affiliations are, what they're carrying, where they're going. As I've said before, just like Al Qaeda in the Middle East, we understood that. We know how to map networks and hunt enemies of our country, terrorists, and in this case, that's what's happening. I mentioned this in another meeting too. There were moments in Iraq and Afghanistan when we were fighting terrorists where we would have to hand those terrorists over to a host nation and believe that they would prosecute them, and want them to prosecute them. Sometimes, sadly, tragically, they wouldn't be held. We jokingly called it the Iraqi catch and release program, where there was no prosecution when there should have been. And frankly, it made our jobs more difficult and dangerous.
What you're saying is from here on out, you should be, doing the job that you're supposed to be set out doing. And again, identifying these people and prosecuting these people. If so, you have the evidence to suggest they are who they say they are, right? So why would, again, you be so willing? Why would the United States be so willing to just hand these people over to even their country of origin if they have been already deemed, guilty in the eyes of the United States of committing, said crime, this crime, or that crime? And that crime is so egregious enough that it was worth the airstrike on the ship. But again, us just sending these people back to their country in the hopes that their home country will prosecute them the same way that the United States would. Again, you can see how this isn't lining up. This isn't making any sense.
Now you're having to relitigate that. In some cases, we understand by handing people over to host countries, they may treat that situation differently, even if we present that evidence. It's a risk you have to take, but it doesn't change.
So the risk that they're willing to take, again, after taking this action, so after deeming what these people have done so egregious, so dangerous, that they can't even take the time to intercept them. They can't take the time to send the Coast Guard or any military boats out to intercept these boats and actually identify the people, identify the drugs, identify the route, identify where they're going, right? Identify where it came from, and maybe lead that back to, again, a bigger operation that would take out more, that would be more effective and more efficient in stopping the drug trade and stopping the traffic going from Venezuela to the United States. But nobody's really talking about that either. But again, he's so willing to kill these people, but again, he's just going to leave it up to chance on whether or not these people can be repatriated to the countries and again, maybe established back into this fucking drug trade, right? So we're just going to release the survivors, and if they end up back in these boats, if they end up back in the same drug trade, then so be it, right? Doesn't really line up with, okay, these people are so dangerous, we need to get them off the fucking, we need to get them off the streets or the water so quickly that we have to kill them. But also, let's take the chance on sending them back to the country. And, if they do end up back in the drug trade and, the countries don't prosecute, then we're right back where we started. But again, that doesn't really matter because we already got the clips and the highlights of the strike on the boat. And that's what we actually needed. Right. And it continues because, again, how we've talked about people like Rand Paul being the voice of reason or being a voice of reason, at least on this subject matter, at least on this position, right? And I'm not giving too many flowers, too much credit to people that don't deserve it, but at least on this, right? To have Rand Paul sound like the voice of reason on the right just goes to show you where the Republican Party and how far they've fallen, right? How far they're willing to go in, dragging behind the boots of Donald Trump while they're fucking licking the mud off it as he walks through shit. But yeah, this is Rob Schmidt tonight, and this is I'll scroll forward to where he brings on Rand Paul. But I want to play Rand Paul's part in this, and I kind of want to see how he combats it, and I want to see if he kind of brings up and uses the same rhetoric and kind of has the same talking points when he's on with Newsmax as he does when he's talking on the floor or on with a more I don't know what they deem as a more lefty corporation, a more lefty channel. So what do you say we dive into this a little bit? Again, this is Newsmax, Rob Schmidt, and Rand Paul from October 29, 2025. I think he starts into it right about here.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse.
Oh, hold on. I think I have that same one. I'm sure they won't play it the way that he said it, but I think I have that one. Was it? Yeah, I think it's this one.
Venezuela? Did you just see Maduro? Venezuela, it's unbelievable.
It's funny that I think they may have cut that part out. Let's hear it one more time because it's the same exact part. I'm pretty sure. Ready? Here we go.
In Venezuela, did you just see Maduro? Venezuela, it's unbelievable.
Okay, and now let's hear this one more time.
Venezuela. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Okay, so openly talking about getting all that oil. And if you watch some of the clips, and I'm kind of forgetting now, and it's like all running into one thing. I don't know if I talked about it on the show now or if I talked about it on the videos with Jesse Dollemore, but I'm pretty sure in either one of the Dollemore Daily videos that I put out or one of the recent lives, we talked about his him openly talking about going after the spoils of war, right? So he was in Japan talking about going after the spoils of war, not to mention the irony, not to mention the ignorance in the comments and talking about, keeping the spoils of war in Japan, a country that we defeated in World War II by dropping 2 nuclear bombs on their cities, right? So again, would the Japanese be okay if the United States military to this day still occupied the entirety of its territory, right? If we still ruled over Japan, if we kept the spoils of war from, Emperor Hirohito, if we took over, all of their culture and history, like, would they be okay with that? I mean, see what we're talking about? Because he was talking about keeping Iraq and keeping Afghanistan, right? He limits it down to Bagram Air Base, but he really wants to keep the entirety of these countries that he deems that the United States has conquered. Right. So he's openly talking about not only removing Nicolas Maduro from power, but actively trying to utilize Venezuelans, natural resources, i.e. the oil, to benefit not only him, but his corporate fucking benefactors in the oil trade, in the oil fucking business, who again donated buku dollars to this asshole to get him elected this time anyway. So you can see how he's scratching the backs of people that donated to his campaign. right? Maybe this was a promise made to those big fucking oil donors that gave them billions. Hey, you give me billions and we'll take out Maduro and we'll give you guys access to the Venezuelan fucking oil, which will make you guys trillions of dollars. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past this regime to have said this in a back room somewhere with these fucking oil companies, these oil fucking tyrants, right? Why do you think there's so many billionaires and people donating? Why do you think Palantir and all these defense corporations are fucking donating to the ballroom? You think they give a fuck about a ballroom? You think it's somehow, some way this ballroom's going to benefit fucking Palantir and these, you know, these fucking other Raytheon and these other defense contractors? No. Not unless there's some fucking bunker being built underneath to fucking house the data and the fucking conversations and messages of the United States fucking citizens. Then maybe I can understand why they'd be donating to a ballroom. But otherwise, they're just waiting to get their fucking back scratched by Donald Trump. That's why they donate. That's why they know they can get ahead of the line. You know, the more they donate, the better it's going to be. Talk about fucking, look no further than Miriam Adelson, right? In his first term, where, you know, the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem, the Golan Heights. What was the other one? I'm forgetting the other one now. The Abraham Accords, right? I mean, all things that wanted to be put in place by Miriam Adelson and her husband, and they gave millions and millions of dollars to Donald Trump so they could get that in return, and he fucking followed through and he gave it to them. So again, he's openly talking about it here, and fucking Newsmax and Rob Schmidt are so fucking stupid, so goddamn stupid and thick-headed that they're playing it on their show. Fucking idiots.
Offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to f*** around with the United States.
If I was Maduro, I'd head to Russia or China right now.
Because
his days are numbered.
Yeah, the alien. Yep, there's an alien speaking. The guy that is, behind the biggest healthcare fraud in the history of this country, this asshole. And he's talking about, again, a politician, United States politician, actively telling the head of another country he should flee to Russia because he should be so afraid of what Donald Trump is about to do to him and his country. And we're talking about the President of Peace, right? We're talking about the President of Peace as this guy. What was the amount of that healthcare fraud, chat, please? Hit me in the chat with the amount that, I think it was billions, right? I forget how many billions it was from this asshole, Rick Scott. Hit me in the chat with that. I know you guys are a couple seconds behind, so I'll wait up.
I'd head to Russia or China right now.
Because
his days are numbered.
Not war, not war, not war. Just peace, just peace, just peace. Forever, forever, forever. Peace forever.
Was it, Winston? Was that how much? 1.7 billion? I'll look it up real quick. We can look it up just so I can get it right. Rick Scott. Let's see here. Yeah, 1.7 billion. The Rick Scott Medicare fraud case refers to the 2000s investigation into his former hospital company, Columbia HCA Health Corp., which resulted in then record $1.7 billion fine for Medicare fraud under his leadership as CEO. The government alleged that the company overcharged federal health programs, and while Scott resigned as CEO in 1997, he is still implicated in reports about the fraud and has since acknowledged the fine and stated he takes responsibility, though he has also used the incident to attack political opponents. $1.7 billion from Voldemort, and he wants Maduro to flee to Russia.
Been there from Rick Scott, who's a close ally of the president, telling Maduro, you better get out. Your days are numbered. Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro's days do appear to be numbered as the Trump administration pumps up our military presence off the coast of Venezuela, deploying the Navy's most advanced aircraft carrier to the region, the USS Gerald Ford. Reporting indicates that Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado, capitalist who recently won the Nobel Peace Prize and dedicated it to President Trump, the Freedom candidate, has been collaborating with the Trump administration on a plan for the first 100 hours of a transition if Maduro is ousted or killed or flees the country. This week, Senator Rand Paul calls these strikes akin to what China or Iran does to drug dealers, and the senator joins us now to talk more about all this. It's good to have you back on. I kind of like them blowing up drug boats. I think they're pretty sure what they got and what they're doing here, and I think, you know, anything that can stop.
Listen to what he just said. Can we just talk about what he just said? I like them blowing up these boats. They seem to be pretty sure at who these people are and what they're doing. Is that all that it takes nowadays from Newsmax to be like, yeah, we should murder those people? As long as you're pretty sure who they are, right? As long as you have like some faint knowledge of fucking who these people might be, could possibly at some point maybe recognize them as, then yeah, go ahead, kill them. Go ahead.
Tens of thousands of Americans that are dying every year. It's a message, and I know that you're going to say a lot of the fentanyl's not coming out of Venezuela, but I also think it's a message worldwide that we're going to cut down on drugs and all this nonsense.
Okay. So now we're killing what? So they're innocent people that we're killing as a message. So this is just a message being sent to the international community. So that's what this is. They're probably innocent. They're probably just fishermen, right? Or they're probably bringing out, such minute amounts of fucking drugs that it probably wouldn't even register had we taken out again this entire fucking fleet of boats that were to leave from Venezuela. But again, it's just to kind of send a signal, right? This is not, we're just going to, let's kill 60, 70, how about 85 people? Let's just do 100. Do you think 100's a good message to send to the international community? You think that will stop the drug trade going on around the world if we just take out 100 of these fucking Ecuadorians, Venezuelans, Colombians, Nicaraguans? That should help. And again, this is Newsmax openly having a broadcaster, whatever they want to call these assholes, talking about how they support, and these people are supposed to support the Constitution, supposed to support, free speech, the First Amendment, all that bullshit, small government, America first, no new wars. But they love it. They can't get enough of this, and they can't bring themselves to critique or criticize their dear Führer, so they have no other fucking option than to walk, in lockstep behind these decisions. And again, when Rand Paul is the voice of reason, you're in trouble.
Talk about that, and also talk about what we're doing in Venezuela and your thoughts on it.
Christ. Let me put this back on the fucking, sorry.
Well, our normal way that we interdict drugs is that we board ships and we find out if they have drugs on them. It's interesting that as the boats have been exploded and as we've used this deadly force, when there are survivors, we don't try them for drug crimes, or we don't even keep them. We've been sending them back.
Okay, so there's the point that we just made in this fucking show. The same thing being talked about on Newsmax right here by fucking Rand Paul. Like, why wouldn't we bring them to the United States and prosecute them? Isn't that something that isn't that what you're talking about right now, is not letting these people, again, get away so they can commit these crimes again to kill American people? Or are you okay with them going back to their country and potentially being, led right back into the same drug trade?
We don't try them for drug crimes, or we don't even keep them. We've been sending them back. So we repatriated last week somebody to Colombia and somebody to Ecuador. So you would think that when there are survivors that they would be tried for a drug crime. You would think we would be hearing evidence that they're collecting drugs that are floating around in the water afterwards. You'd think we'd hear evidence that the people were armed. So we don't know their names. We have no evidence of who they are other than an accusation that they are drug dealers. But we also, in our country, haven't typically just killed people because we accuse them of being a drug dealer. Even convicted drug dealers are usually not given the death penalty. So there's a lot here.
And again, we all have we all have our things to say about Rand Paul, and rightfully so. I've said them many a times and made it very fucking plain and clear how I feel about the scumbag too on this show. But he's right about what he's saying, right? It's not policy to just blow fucking people out of the water, blow people out of the sky because you think, or they're alleged to have been doing something. Like, where does this stop? I mean, do we start blowing people up on the shores of the United States that have been deemed to be carrying something illegal, right? If a family is out with fucking their, out on a fishing boat and they have, an ounce of cocaine or something like that, I mean, are we allowed to take them out? Or like, how does this work? Are people partying on Lake Havasu, or, are they going to be fucking taken out by missiles and drones because they have drugs on their boats and stuff? Like, where does this fucking end? We don't kill people in this country that have been deemed to be, found to guilty of drug trafficking or anything like that. So why are we blowing people out of the water and blowing people, ending people's lives without, again, the interception by the Coast Guard, or again, by the military to say, okay, hey, you're under arrest, right? Like, fucking identify yourselves. What are you carrying? What's your fucking destination? That type of stuff, how it typically goes, right?
Easy to be angry with people, but if we get rid of the idea of presumption of innocence and we're just going to blow up people on boats with a 25% potential error rate, I think I have problems with that.
And I can certainly understand that. I think when you if you want to be a pragmatist and you're not concerned with, all of the I think, American ideals of due process and things like that.
Listen to what he's saying right now. Listen to what this fucking guy is saying. If you're not worried about, if you're not a pragmatist and you're not worried about the American ideals, listen to what this guy says one more time. I'm going to play this again. Listen to what he fucking says.
I think yes, I have problems with that.
And I can certainly understand that. I think if you want to be a pragmatist and you're not concerned with, all of the I think, American ideals of due process and things like that. We have a serious drug problem on this continent, and a lot of people die from drugs. So this would be a way to really kind of clamp down on it. It might not be too traditionally American.
So we should just spit on the American ideals of due process, and again, not killing people at will before, again, identifying who the fuck they are, right? He thinks we should just end around all of that, and that because people are dying from drugs on the streets of the United States, which again is an absolute problem and something that needs to be fucking, seriously taken a look at. And a lot of it starts again with what the hospitals and doctors are prescribing to their people, which is getting them hooked on different substances, and then they find themselves slowly walking themselves down the line into the fucking worse and worse and worse and worse ones. I'm not saying that's the entirety of the problem. That's definitely a big area that we need to look at, which is the healthcare system in general. But yeah, fucking Rob Schmidt here saying, if you want to be a pragmatist and, I guess if you care about the American ideals of due process and not, murdering people that you don't know who they are, then I guess you might have a problem with this. But again, people are dying, so we should kill other people, right?
In its form. But I also think that what they're doing with these drugs, I don't think that this is really about the drugs. I think that this is kind of a way for them.
I don't think this is really about the drugs. Again, going back to this is just a signal being sent to the international community. So these are just being, these are just kind of, these guys are cannon fodder. They're just, being thrown into the meat grinder for propaganda usage so we could spread these fucking videos around the world and try to intimidate other countries. That's what Rob Schmidt's saying here.
They're trying to kind of, they're pressing something with Venezuela, with Colombia, with these leftist states in South America, and I think there's a reason for that. I want to know why you think, why are we trying to clearly?
Yes, you played the reason in the clip at the beginning of your segment when you played Donald Trump out of his own mouth saying that he should have taken the Venezuelan oil, and that he has every intentions on removing Maduro from power and doing exactly that. You already played the answer.
Venezuela and push Maduro out. What do you think the plan is? Do you think it's Rubio just wanting to get communism out of South America?
Maybe. And of course, I have no love lost for Maduro, communism, or socialism. I wrote a book called The Case Against Socialism, and in it we open with a chapter about a girl who runs a gang in Venezuela, and her gang controls 4 dumpsters outside of restaurants because there's such a dearth of food that people are scrounging, eating their pets, eating rats, eating remnants of food. This is an example.
Maybe it almost like the things that you're saying might be kind of put in place here, and we might be able to deem that some of these people on these boats that we've been killing may be doing this out of desperation. Right? Maybe doing this because they have no other way to feed their family. Maybe doing it because their family's been kidnapped. Maybe doing it because they themselves have been kidnapped from their families. Right? But again, we wouldn't know that because we're not doing our fucking due diligence. We have no due process. We're not intercepting these boats. We're not identifying the people. We're not identifying the drugs. We're not identifying the targets. We're just simply blowing them out of the water, and anybody that survives, shipping them back to the fucking country in which they started. That's what's going on.
Of how socialism doesn't work and will ultimately fail.
And I'm not 100% sure he makes any more good points in here. I'll give him about another minute to make another good point. If not, we're moving on.
And I wish the best for the people there. I have not been for offensive war. I have not been for fighting wars unless we're attacked. President Trump has largely agreed with me. He opposed the Iraq war, as did I. He opposed the continuation of the Afghan war, as did I.
And I'm sorry, but you didn't hear where he said recently that we should have kept the spoils of war from Iraq? Does that not kind of contradict maybe the fact that he didn't want or said he didn't think we should be there in the first place? Oh, but as long as we're there, we might as well keep the whole fucking thing, right? I mean, that's a lot better. That's somehow better than, again, these people, at some point, they can stand up on one hand with Donald Trump, but they have to kind of give him credit with the other hand in order to stay in some sort of good graces. They cannot just, they just cannot, they cannot fucking focus their attacks and not give the guy praise or credit on the other hand because they're just so afraid of the base. They're just so afraid of being put on the outside. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene's doing it, right? Even, in her stance against, the Epstein files or what's going on with the fucking non-existent ceasefire in Gaza. Like she even, oh, I love President, he's the best. Like she still can't help but praise him on the fucking right hand while, trying to criticize him with her left hand.
He opposed the regime change of Gaddafi that led to even more chaos. So it isn't always clear what comes after. There is the potential that what comes after isn't freedom and constitutional liberty, but maybe what comes after is chaos.
And that's when this first started, I was very wary of this initially, and it was one of those things where I didn't really like kind of what we were doing. The more I kind of looked into the possible motives of this, and you look at the creep of China into South and Central America, we remember what the Panama Canal thing, and the president just brought that up and kind of opened people's eyes to the fact that China is moving its claws into the continent just to our south.
So again, because of China, we should kill Venezuelan fishermen? Again, try to make that make sense in your own brain, and we don't have to move on with any more of that shit, but you can definitely see, again, how they're more than willing to accept war crimes in order to, be in some sort of defense of the dear leader. If it just gives them anything to talk about other than Donald Trump's involvement in the Epstein files, they're more than willing. Bring on the war crimes. It's much better than talking about the Epstein files. We'll report on that shit all day, even though everything that we're saying doesn't add up. None of it makes any sense. And even the things that we see in reality, but when these survivors being put back into their own countries doesn't line up with, again, this supposed evidence that we have on these people. But again, let's move on. This is speaking of authoritarianism, fascism, and idiots in general. This is a clip that I wanted to play to kind of get us on the a bright side of the on the show. But here's a clip from the Majority Report. American Patriot roast ICE. And again, I would try to find this full clip somewhere else, but I couldn't find it, so I'm going to play it here on the Majority Report. This is just a couple minutes long. We don't have to play the whole thing. I think it's about 3 minutes from where they cover this. So what do you say we get into this? Again, this is Emma and Sam on the Majority Report covering this clip from ICE. I think it's somewhere in either a courthouse or something like that. I'm not 100% sure.
This was awesome. Let's play this. I haven't seen any confirmation from any news outfit that this is an NYPD officer, but he identifies himself as an officer. He's obviously got documents that he's holding in his hand that made the court officer who's there, security, seem like he was also an officer. He states that he's an officer. These ICE guys are letting him get away with a lot of stuff I'm not necessarily in a blanket sense, terribly excited about cops in general. But this guy, if I institute a favorite cop of the year award, this guy so far is in the lead. Here we go.
What are y'all harassing me for? What is wrong with you? You sick? Go get a real job. Get off me. Get a real job. I'm a fucking officer too. I want y'all to know that. Get off me. Just make way. Okay. Really harassing me. Go home. Get off me. Go home. You better get arrested. Go home. Stand right here. I got work to do. Can you please escort him out of here? Nope. Thank you. Sir, I got work to do. You refusing to leave? Sir, I'm not refusing to leave. I'm here to do work. Leave, bro. No, sir. You asked to leave. You refusing to leave? I'm not refusing to leave. Leave me alone. Let me finish what I'm doing, sir. Please. Can you leave me alone? Thank you. Excuse me. I need to get my stuff. Excuse me. Excuse me. Good boy. Where's my stuff at? Y'all threw it on the floor, huh? Well, you want to go? Y'all don't want to move out people's way, huh? Y'all want to harass everybody in the world. Y'all got nothing else better to do. I'm not done because you.
Can we just describe what we're seeing here? What is this, 12 guys in face masks in a courtroom?
Yeah, it's 12 guys in face masks out in front of a courtroom, and this guy's walking by. Excuse me, get out of my way. Good boy. I mean, I just love this guy's attitude towards these guys. And look at his face. He's sitting here. This is one of my favorite parts when he's coming up or he's sitting next to him and just sort of like, hey.
And what's with the fucking, the mask is one thing, but the sunglasses, how incognito does one need to be when you have 13 of your other masked buddies surrounding you in body armor and plain clothes? Like why is why do you need to be incognito at this point? If you're just standing outside of a courtroom, what is the point of being incognito at this point? And again, do the judges walk into the courtroom with fucking face masks? Do they get to, preside over their courtrooms, behind a fucking, a black screen so nobody knows who they are? Do the lawyers, do they get to wear face masks? Are the prosecutors, are they behind, again, a shield so nobody can tell who they are? Or are they, public, employees that need to be, out in the open and have their faces seen for a fucking specific reason? Like, this is like horse shit. But I'm with Sam on this one. Look at this part, because he just kind of sits there and rubs shoulders with these guys. And again, I don't think it's been deemed that he officially is a New York City police officer, as as far as I have been told or I've seen yet. But it would be fucking hilarious if he is. And again, he has to have some sort of leeway there, because they're not treating him as if they would just like a normal citizen, or again, somebody, just a brown skin that they would. So he must have either some past, like Sam said, or, they must know about his affiliation somehow, because he's given a little bit more leeway to speak his piece. Check this out.
Because you haven't said I've done for touching me and harassing me.
Guys, please.
I want you to see the great American people of America, how they're treating people. Disrespectful asses.
That was my favorite right there. He took a selfie with two of them.
You're touching me. You're touching me. You should be so lucky, huh? You should be so lucky.
5 kids, homie. I don't need it.
It sure seems like it. You should be at home taking care of your kids.
And I do take care of my kids. What do you do for a living? Harass people? Yeah. All right, that's what I thought. Learn to go get a real job. I got a real job. I swear to God, y'all. I hate you. I'm sorry, I don't hate you. I dislike you for what the f*** you do. And I bet you $100 million your dumbass family's not even from here. We all come from somewhere, you stupid Yeah, I'm not racist. You're the racist one for touching me. Your man harassed me. Your man harassed me. Your man harassed me. That dumbass agent genocidal American harassed me. And it's stupid ass. If your ancestors came here through the yeah, you get mad, big boy. You can't touch me now. I'm American.
Where's security? Are we able to get him out of here?
Security, no, I'm not done, sir. I'm not done, sir. Excuse me, I gotta go do paperwork.
You're done.
Sir, I gotta go talk to the lady. This is a public building. Yeah, I'll calm down. As I was walking out, he grabbed my shirt like he wanted to fight me.
No, you interfered with an arrest.
No, he did not. I was walking out. I can't sue. Speak 4 languages, smarter than your dumb ass.
I love that guy.
Oh, all right. Like I said, I couldn't find that in its entirety anywhere else, and I enjoyed their reaction to it as well. So I figured I'd combine the best of both worlds on that one. But again, this is the treatment that they are fucking begging for in return, right? This is when you treat the American people, when you treat brown and black people the way that you're treating them, this is the way that they're going to react. And it's good to see the fucking public. It's good to see communities. It's good to see neighborhoods rising up around their neighbors as well. You know what I mean? So again, I'm not 100% sure if he was an actual New York City police officer, but he is. God bless him anyway. And if he's not, God bless him anyway, right? Because that's how you should be talking to these people. They should be told at every fucking step exactly who they're working for, what they're doing, how stupid they're being made to look. And again, the aggressive, unconstitutional legal actions only provoke one reaction from the citizenry. And unfortunately, they're getting that in return, right? So what do you say we move on to, speaking of getting some of what they don't want in return, this ongoing MAGA civil war that we've been covering here. And again, this pertains several different topics, several different layers to this civil war going on. One being the Epstein files, like we continuously talking about. The other being this, pro-Israel, anti-Israel faction, or the beef that's been going on inside of MAGA. Another is the shooting, the murder of Charlie Kirk, and the conspiracy theories flowing behind the scenes of that as well. We've talked a lot about Candace Owens. I think the last show we played a Jimmy Dore clip, who we haven't talked about in a long time, who's trying to now ride the coattails of people like Candace Owens. Tucker Carlson was on with Nick Fuentes. I mean, things are happening inside of the MAGA atmosphere that you wouldn't typically expect. But this is the next battle that we see on the front of MAGA, which is Candace Owens and Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder now taking aim at Candace Owens. The next battle the next big assault coming here on the front, the civil war of MAGA. So what do you say we take a look? I want to dive into just the first couple minutes. Maybe we'll skip around a little bit. I won't subject you to this whole thing. Steven Crowder, in case anybody is not familiar, is the prove me wrong guy, right? He's kind of like this. He was Charlie Kirk before Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk. Like, he'd go and sit on these campuses with a booth and a chair saying fucking, I hate gays, prove me wrong, or whatever the fuck he says. He's also the guy known for being caught on video verbally assaulting and abusing his pregnant wife, not allowing her to use the vehicle. Basically, I wonder if I can actually, just to kind of give you a better idea. Just to give you a better idea, a bigger picture of who Steven Crowder is. Let's see here. If I can pull this video up. Because it's from his own security camera at his own house. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Shouldn't take long. I'll put this up for you guys. Make sure you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Yep, here we go. So I'll play this. This is a Reddit post. Video of right-wing pundit Steven Crowder being emotionally abusive and controlling towards his now ex-wife, Hillary. Jeez, I can't understand why they'd be separated, divorced. All right, so this is just I'll play a couple minutes of this and should give you an accurate depiction, an accurate example of who Steven Crowder is before we play him. And again, let's check this out. Again, pregnant wife. He's fucking reclined out back in his patio, puffing on a cigar, and listen to how he treats his wife.
Because I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
So not allowing her to use the vehicle.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the men? Yes.
How do you respect the men? She's sitting there clearly about to burst. She's so pregnant. And Steven's there, got his fucking legs up, legs crossed, puffing on a cigar. And she's trying to go to the store to get food for the kids, and he's not allowing it.
I'm a man. Receive love. No. How does a man no, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you're not taking the car.
Steven,
you are not
then
taking
I will ask them to take me back. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not a threat, Steven.
Get an Uber.
Okay.
Get an Uber. She's oh, okay. I mean, it doesn't have to, you don't have to see, oh, I'm sorry, I'm covering up where he's, just so you can see Steven down here in the bottom right hand of the screen with his legs crossed, puffing on a cigar, while his pregnant wife's just trying to get to the grocery store, and he's forcing her to take an Uber. Okay? So again, just to kind of point out the type of guy that this asshole is, before we go too deep into this. And that video gets even worse. It goes on. That's something like a 4-minute clip. We've only gotten through about a minute of it. It gets worse on that one too. But I won't subject you to his nonsense and fucking abuse of his pregnant wife there. But again, just so you know who we're talking about, the people that we're talking about here, Steven Crowder, who after that, kind of faded back into irrelevancy after that, and now is trying to get back into the limelight off again the coattails of Candace Owens and the murder of Charlie Kirk. He really has kind of tried to revamp his prove me wrong thing after the murder of Charlie Kirk in hopes that would be like the new turning point fucking, a magnet for all of these young people, but it hasn't really come to fruition like he's hoped. So again, he's going to jump on this bandwagon of the MAGA Civil War, choosing the side. But let's see what he has to say in this. Again, just going to play the first couple minutes. We'll skip around maybe.
They're going to give Charlie Kirk a boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave him freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard and a holiday, they definitely killed you. Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature
and
thing.
we played this clip on the show last week. During last week, I believe, in her, recent crazed conspiracy theories where she's now blaming Donald Trump specifically, or, at least alleging or, hinting at the involvement of the Trump administration behind the murder of Charlie Kirk,
like
which has really stirred up some emotions in and around the MAGA base, which is why you're seeing the reaction from Steven Crowder that you're seeing here.
It's the Fed signature. It's when they sign off after they murder you.
Candace Owens is an evil. Just as I was.
Okay. Well, very strong words to start off here from Steven Crowder, apparently. Let's see what he's got to say.
About to go live on air. I was made aware, and you guys can correct me if I'm getting anything wrong, because this is coming in live. Candace Owens,
like actively distraught, right? He doesn't even know how to approach this, and he's probably a little bit scared because of the power, in the growth that Candace Owens has seen lately, and he's kind of treading on a fine line here on whether or not he's going to attack her. But again, doesn't seem like he's mincing words as the beginning would prove, and he's definitely picking a side in this fight. So let's see what else he's going to say. Oh, thank you, Babyface, and thank you everybody who's been kind enough to donate, send a Venmo. A super chat, a super sticker. If you're new to the channel and you're just joining us for the first time, and you have contributed financially or reached a milestone or whatever it may be, we go through everybody at the end of the show, and I give everybody their show of appreciation. I highlight everybody's super chat or the thanks that they give. So I make sure to give everybody a shout out at the end. So if you didn't see me, kind of recognize that as it went by, don't fret. Stick around to the end, and I'll make sure I give you your shout out that you deserve at the end. All right. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that like button too.
outright saying, and I want to be careful.
You can't even get it out. He's struggling to even get this out right now.
My words here, because she's not. And I know she'll give herself an out and say that's not what I was implying. But you watch this clip in its entirety, and it seems pretty blatant that she's saying, and people are interpreting it this way, which is also important, that the Trump administration, not whatever it was, we went from underground Jew tunnels, Mossad, the Trump administration killed Charlie Kirk.
Just really needed to just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen.
By who? By who?
Made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump.
Woo-wee! So there's got to be a very specific reason as to why Candace Owens is willing to throw Trump's name in this, why she's lost complete faith in Donald Trump. And again, it couldn't be like the fact that he got over this faster than he, got over fucking the fact that like the ketchup button wasn't working on his fucking desk or something like that. Like, remember when he was asked about Charlie Kirk's death in a press conference? So he was outside of the White House, and he literally talked about it for about a second before he went on to talking about his fucking golden ballroom. And I think everybody, even people on the right, were like kind of taken aback by that, and were like, oh shit. Like clearly he's moved on rather quickly from this. Like he didn't even want to give Charlie like anything other than like talking about the golden ballroom. So I'm not sure if that is kind of why she's lost faith or anything like that, or that, she can't trust the answers coming from this administration. But again, to put Trump's name involved has really stirred shit up in the MAGA base.
And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics, and it serves us or it doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday, bro.
We played this on the channel. I'm going to go where Steven comes in. We played this earlier. I mean, we played this before on the show if you want to go back and take a look. It's kind of all crazy.
Tactful here and tell you that outrageous claims, and this is an outrageous claim, require outrageous evidence. Of course, as is par for the course.
And again, she didn't come outright and say that Donald Trump's administration was behind the killing, which is, again, what Steven Crowder is, implying. But I don't think it's, too hard to beat around the bush and to read in between the lines of both of these idiots and see what, again, they're trying to get, what they're actually trying to get through or across to their base. It's not really, it's not really too difficult. They're not very smart in covering up their tracks, or at least hiding their true intentions, let's just say.
None has been presented. And I know that there might be an out, a weaseling here saying, oh, well, I said the Fed, not the Trump administration. I said a boulevard in Israel. It's pretty clear, not clear. What she said was, they, the Fed, give you a boulevard when that's a sure sign that they have killed you. I
love this whole thing, and that's why I have this like incredible fucking permanent smile on my face, is like the fact that Steven Crowder is now having to combat Candace Owens, and Candace Owens is making fucking videos with, Nick Fuentes is making videos against Tucker Carlson. Now Tucker's against, what's the asshole's name? Mark Levin on Fox. Like all these people are now fucking combating themselves in this little fucking MAGA civil war. And it's all time that that they can't spend combating the left, right? Which has given us even more of an opening here to, to give and to input our facts, to input our policies, to make people see that they're just, low life scumbags who, are more than willing to even combat or to, fight or eat their own people to defend Donald Trump. And again, I just, it's so beautiful. It gives chef's kiss on this whole situation and on this, the infighting of the MAGA civil war. It's been a beauteous thing to see.
They have killed you. He was betrayed in the worst way possible, giving so much of his life to the Trump presidency, to politics. The federal government, the Trump administration killed Charlie Kirk is the claim. Now I'm going to tell you how I feel about it, what I think about it, because and
I'll just let him go on. No, fuck it. I won't let him go on. I don't really care what he has to say. I just like that they're fighting. I do. I just very much enjoy that they can't even manage to get out of their own atmosphere before they start fucking fighting with people. They haven't even they can't even manage to make content on lefty creators or lefty politicians because they're so busy infighting and trying to defend against the Epstein files and, figure out this whole, fucking who's with Israel, who's not with Israel, and, who fucking actually killed Charlie Kirk. Like, they're so focused on all of those things that they're not even managing to defend anything that's going on. They're not talking about the government shutdown. They're not talking about the Epstein files. They're not talking about, fucking Donald Trump strikes. So it gives us the opportunity to, again, put our viewpoint out there without it being combated by these schmucks like it typically is.
Who else would have to be?
But what do you say we move on to, should I save that one for last? I just want to play this one clip from this asshole, if I may, if you will indulge me, allow me to, because this is, again, Donald Trump Jr. trying to praise his father for his meeting with Xi Jinping, for not signing a trade deal, for, again, lowering the 20% tariff on fentanyl from China to 10% because of absolutely nothing that China did, only from what, the president, the dictatorial, authoritarian, murderous president of China said in the meeting. And they're trying to, again, relate the fentanyl trade with the strikes on the Venezuelan fishing boats. And we can't allow them to make this connection that's not there to justify their, again, unconstitutional, illegal killing of fucking right now who are deemed to be, innocent people until proven otherwise. Right. So we can't allow that. And this is just, I think, a really short clip from this asshole where he brings somebody in from, what is it, Angel Mom? I'm not even sure what this organization is, but I just want to kind of combat what she says here real quick.
Incredible people, hardworking people, young kids making stupid young kid mistakes. Just listen to Angel Mom Ann Funder, who lost her son after he took a pill laced with fentanyl. This is heartbreaking, but it's the reality of what's happening in our communities all over the country. It's indiscriminate. It goes after everyone.
So what he meant to say is here, listen to this woman using the death of her son, the tragic death of her son, no doubt, as justification, as some way that, as justification for these killings of, these airstrikes that somehow, make her feel better about the loss of her son. And again, in no way trying to mitigate or downplay what the woman has gone through or the egregiousness of the loss that she felt, or the horrendous nature of the way that she lost her son, or that something has to be done, seriously done, to combat those things or to mitigate those fucking circumstances. Absolutely. But that does not, again, give us the right to start killing people at will, right? This does not give us the right to start, violating the Geneva Convention, violating international law, violating the rules of war, going around Congress. I mean, that's, again, not justification for any of those things, which is what Donald Trump Jr. is trying to get across here. He's trying to pull at the heartstrings of these people in order to justify any and all actions against people he deems as, others or bad people,
It kills everyone, and it needs to stop. Here's what she said this week on how many American lives.
I don't know. And again, I don't know if he's working on a serious case, a double pink eye, or if the blunt is still burning at the fucking table beside him, which, again, here at Blunt Politics, we would not criticize. But to the best of my knowledge, Don Jr. is not too much of a weed smoker. He likes going the other way, if you know what I mean. But, I don't know what's going on at the old eyeballs in here, but he either got 0 hours of sleep, he's still feeling the effects of his cocaine withdrawals, or again, he's been hanging out with Snoop Dogg for the last fucking 12 hours or something, because he looks rough. He looks rough in this one, baby. All right, let's continue.
Are saving.
Of course, the cartels, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And for every boat that blows up, we're talking billions of dollars or close to it.
For every boat that blows up, we're talking billions of dollars. That's just ridiculous. I mean, that's the most. I mean, we've seen a lot of these strikes, and fucking a quarter of the boats are empty. Right? Some of them they're pretty loaded up, but others, I mean, to suggest that we're taking away billions of dollars in each one of these strikes is just ridiculous. And also, what they're trying to do is they're trying to equate the strikes on the Venezuelan fishing boats to the same thing as Donald Trump talking about his war with the Mexican cartels, which are separate situations, right? Two totally different things. At the same time, they're trying to equate that to the fentanyl problem that we have in this country, which again are all three totally different situations, not related to one. The Venezuelan fishing boats being taken out is not stopping the fentanyl trade coming into the United States, right? It's also not the same as as the war that Donald Trump is threatening against the Mexican cartels for what they're doing. These are all separate situations, but they're trying to be brought into one similar aspect by this lady, and it's just not. We have to make sure we combat this fucking line of rhetoric.
You're doing by these strikes is stopping American lives from being lost on American soil.
Right. So I just wanted to play that short clip and make sure that I called that one out, because they're trying to now equate, and that's why Don Jr. is playing this on his show. They're trying to pull at your heartstrings by saying, okay, look at all the people dying from fentanyl overdoses, and this woman tragically lost her son. But that should give us justification. That gives you a reason to be okay with us, again, killing these people at will without due process, without actually identifying who they are. Like, he's trying to make you okay with that by, again, pulling your heartstrings, using your empathy and compassion against you, which we cannot let happen. All right, so what do you say we dive into? What time is it here? How much time do I have? Because there was one more thing that I wanted to bring up here that I was kind of surprised to see as well. I think, yeah, let me see if I can bring this up for you guys. But yeah, this one too. Talking about more and ongoing wars that he's got going on. This is from, I'm gonna play this, and then we'll put the I've had it on the screen afterwards. This is just a short clip, and I think I pulled it up at the right part here, from Fox News, talking about how Trump readies the Pentagon for vicious military action in Nigeria now. Again, above and beyond the removal of Maduro from power in Venezuela, above and beyond the military actions we've seen in the Caribbean, above and beyond the missile strikes on the Venezuelan fishing boats, above and beyond what's going on in the talks about a war now with the Mexican cartels, right? Again, President of Peace, everybody.
All right. Well, we're going to begin this morning with a Fox News alert.
President Trump ordering the Pentagon to prepare for possible fast military action in Nigeria if the country fails to crack down on the mass killing of Christians.
Rebecca Castor joins us live from Washington, D.C. with those details.
And
Rebecca,
I think she goes over, hold on.
Rachel, good morning.
I think she goes over here, Trump's True Social post that he put out, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right here. Here you go.
Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians.
I'll read it out so we don't have to hear anybody from Fox News more than we should. He says, Donald Trump posted to True Social, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians, warning the Nigerian government better move fast. Right? So this is just words from an absolutely insane madman, right? There are absolutely ways in which we should interdict. There are absolutely ways in which international communities and international organizations should be used to put pressure on different individuals, different organizations in this area to stop the killing. Absolutely have no problems with that. But the fact that this guy is going to talk about going in guns a-blazing and just wiping out an entire fucking people, like an entire side of the fight, is wild. I mean, this is fucking wild. And again, this is just more fucking fodder, more fuel to the fire about this, unconstitutional engagements that he's been fucking taking place in. And just more evidence to suggest that he's much more happy with war crimes than he is with talks about his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files. And I'll let this continue because this is fucking nuts too.
The USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. Fast events or is preparing for action.
Oh yeah, this is Pete Hegseth too. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and anywhere must end immediately. The Department of War is preparing for action. Either the Nigerian government protects Christians or we will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Again, just outright being like, we have the right to kill fucking anybody. We'll go over and kill you. We'll kill you. We'll kill everybody. It doesn't matter. We're the United States. If we deem you to be somebody that we should kill, we're going to come over and kill you. I mean, it's just fucking, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. And this guy was sitting on the fucking weekend Fox News couch not that long ago. Now he's declaring war basically on the Nigerian government and talking about killing in its entirety the Islamic terrorists who are committing the atrocities. And again, should the United States be speaking up against this? Absolutely. Are there international communities and organizations put in place for the specific reason of making sure and stopping these things from happening? Absolutely. Are they, do they have the effectiveness that we would hope? No. But do we have the right to go in and just start fucking mowing people down because they are mowing people down? Like, do you see the hypocrisy in that? Because you guys are mowing people down we don't like, we're going to come in and mow you down. And who has the trust in this administration to take out the right people, or that innocent people will not be wrapped up or caught up in the actions, in the slaughter performed by the United States military in this fucking region? I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. I mean, calling him the president of peace is as absurd now as referring to what's going on between Israel and Gaza, and Israel and Palestine as a ceasefire. Like, those two things are now on equal footing right now as being equally fucking insanity, equally as insane as the next to refer to. I mean, come on. I mean, we will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing these atrocities. And again, no act of war, no fucking plea to Congress for military action, just two people in our government determining who's going to be killed and who's not going to be killed. And again, as much as I want to see, whatever atrocities, whether it be in Darfur, Sudan, whether it be in Nigeria, whether it be in Ukraine, whether it be in Gaza, as much as I'd like to see them ended, again, that does not give any government the right to just go out without a declaration of war, without anything, an act of Congress, without anything, to just outright kill anybody they deem necessary. That's not what we do here. Well, some might argue that's exactly what we do here in the United States, but it very much shouldn't be what we do here in the United States. All right, so let me just see if there's any more in this, and then we'll go on to Jen and Pumps, who I believe are talking about Trump losing support in MAGA.
The response comes as the persecution of Christians in Nigeria has reached crisis levels. Islamist militants have burned down churches and Christian schools. And international civil rights groups estimate more than 50,000 Christians have been murdered in the country since 2009. But the president of Nigeria claims the reports of violence are misleading and says on X the characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality.
Well, that's another good point, and not taking anything he said, but to point out that it's a religious, this would be like a religious conflict. The United States get involved in, another religious war, which we know are the most hard fought, the most difficult to end, the longest lasting wars are typically wars fought on the basis of religion. So again, the United States actively talking about getting involved in another religious war. And again, not to say that we shouldn't be in some way, interjecting ourselves and trying to make sure that this stuff is stopped. But there are definitely ways and routes for us to use that don't involve us actively going in and slaughtering people. That should be, common sense at this point. But unfortunately, it's becoming more normalized than ever in Trump's second administration. But what do you say we jump off of that? We'll jump onto this one just to kind of round it out on a more positive note. This is the I've Had It podcast, as we watch quite frequently here. This is Jen and Pumps talking about how Trump is losing all support as MAGA starts to reject him. And again, we're not going to get through all of it. We'll just get through a few minutes of this, and then I will let you guys get on with your day, watch your favorite NFL teams, do what you do on this beautiful weekend. And I hope that I hope you're enjoying. But what do you say we dive into just a little bit of this? Oh no, 1 second. Before I dive into this, I wanted to point this out as well. Before I forget this, because Tom and Victoria were nice enough to send this to me. You know, people that think like other nationalities aren't being wrapped up in what ICE is doing now. Like we've seen, and this is just one example to use, where the number of number of Irish citizens deported from the U.S. rises more than 50%, as well as, other nationalities, other countries as well are seeing the same thing happen to, people that are from that nation as well. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, the number of Irish citizens deported from the United States has risen by more than 50% in 2025 compared to the previous year. Between January and September, 99 Irish people were deported, according to the statistics from the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE unit. This compares to 60 deportations between October 23 and September 2024. Let's see. I think it goes on to talk about how not all of these people. Yeah, Claire, an immigrant attorney, said many of these were now facing more intense enforcement of immigration law, including Irish citizens. The biggest change is that we're seeing a lot more people without criminal backgrounds who have been here for years getting detained. That's the big part of this too. No criminal background, who've been here for years being detained. Why the hell? Is that Elise Stefanik? What the fuck is that? Is that Elise Stefanik's sister, Erin Stefanik? Looks just like her. Jesus Christ. But I just wanted to point that out as well, because, this is, as we continue to point out, the violence and the aggression towards black and brown people has absolutely increased exponentially, which is 100% true. Like, other people are now being wrapped up in this as well. I mean, we heard early on about, travelers from other countries trying to get into the United States, but having their phones confiscated, and anything that the people that confiscated the phones deemed to be, anti-Trump or anti-American, that they weren't being allowed into the country. Right. So those are people just kind of being wrapped up or rounded up on the periphery of the ICE policies. But now we're seeing that kind of being ramped up, to numbers that are, now being increased by fucking 50% here. And it's going to continue. Again, people that have been here for years, no criminal records. We've seen U.S. citizens, right? We talked about this as well. Not only Irish citizens, but more than 100 U.S. citizens have been held by immigration agents. They've been kicked, dragged, and detained for days. I'm sure that number has since gone up, because this went out October 16th. When we know on a day-to-day basis, ICE is going out and rounding up people. It doesn't matter, again, if they're asylum seekers, if they are, properly documented, if they are United States citizens, if they're minors. Excuse me. On one of the videos I played for Dollemore, Jesse Dollemore on his channel, they played, a recent footage of an alleged 16-year-old boy in Texas who was nearly choked to death on his way to school. Let me see. Let's see if I can pull this one up. Was it ICE? Give me a second. See if I can take a second to pull it. I think it was this one. Yeah, I'll play these two for you. So these are from my video on Jesse Dollemore, but let me play this one for you. Just a couple, and we've done this a lot recently on the show, is played these clips, played these videos from people that have been just, out and about watching ICE and, with their brutal, violent actions. But let me put this on the screen for you guys, and you guys can see these clips as well. I put it on. So here we go. Ready? Come from Border Patrol and DHS.
No! 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 My daddy! Help me! Help me! I don't know how to... Daddy, please! I have my papers! No! Let me free! My daddy! She's a human being! No! My daddy!
And you can hear her screaming, I have my papers. I have my papers. You know what I mean? As she's being taken out and by two guys in plain clothes, wearing fucking work boots, dressed in flannels, right? Clearly not identifying themselves. You got one, police officer here not doing a goddamn thing to help or, to calm down the situation or to make it less violent. Like, the fact that they're doing this is a total separate situation as to the aggression at which these people are being treated, right? The way that they're just going about this completely inhumanely, fucking beating the people, dragging them by their arms, beating them, fucking hitting their heads against vehicles, pounding them up against cement. And then there's this one here where this is the one depicting the alleged 16-year-old boy in Texas, right? And you can hear the kid saying, I'm a U.S. citizen, I'm a minor, right? I'm on my way to school. You can hear him speaking at the, here's this clip too. Listen, check it out. You're saying I'm underage. I'm underage. Basically saying, hey, I'm a fucking minor, dude. I'm from the United States. You can hear him talking. And you can hear the lady in the background. I don't know if you just caught it. You can hear the lady in the background who's filming, apparently saying, you're going to break his neck. Look at the chokehold they got the kid in. He can barely fucking speak. He says, you almost killed me. And then right here, he talks about how he was just on his way to school. But unfortunately, this doesn't even, right? And, as I bring up in the video, unfortunately, it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of some of the videos that we could pull up to show the fucking, again, the violence and the, how much glee and joy these fucking ICE agents have in beating and showing and using the force and, the carte blanche that they've been given in the permission they've been given by people like Donald Trump and fucking Tom Homan and Stephen Miller to act as brutally as humanly possible, to instill as much fear as humanly possible. Against, the brown and black community and citizenry that they're fucking supposed to be out there made to protect, right? So just wanted to make sure I fucking played that as well. But why do we say we put this? I'll throw this on the screen for you guys. We'll get through just a couple minutes of this and see what else we can, see what other damage we could do. And again, this is the I've Had It podcast titled Trump Losing All Support as MAGA Starts to Reject Him.
A lot of people in MAGA are starting to see the end of this horrific global nightmare, which is known as the MAGA regime, which is coming to a climax because they cannot keep this group together if the strong man is frail. And all we're seeing from Kanks right now is utter frailty, dementia, physical and mental decline, to quote him, the likes of which the world has never seen. Tucker Carlson is
fucking people with a mental decline. They don't say things
No, they're
like
just
this.
getting acclimated. You know what that means? Acclimated.
They don't say things like this either.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there. You
When
have
do
a
they say
group
this?
of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know it very well. Water, and you have the water coming here is dead.
Okay, the water's dead. I'm just going to say things like that, typically not said by somebody of a sane mind. Just pointing that out.
Noticing this. And Tucker Carlson, we all need to keep an eye on. He is an opportunist and he is a grifter. And he is already starting to create so much daylight between himself and this MAGA regime. I think he's probably positioning himself for...
Hold on. You mean this Tucker Carlson?
Is there anything worse than white people?
You mean this Tucker Carlson?
White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones.
You mean that Tucker Carlson? Oh, okay.
For a run, because he knows that this cult has to go somewhere. He is already closing the curtains on Dear Leader. Play the clip.
That you hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society that was the opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience.
I'm sorry. I guess Tucker may have missed and probably missed that whole fucking entire segment of this story in which that people on the left were actively being doxxed, were actively being fired, were actually being fucking seeked out online because apparently they didn't show enough emotion because their freedom of speech, the First Amendment right, apparently didn't apply to them after the murder of Charlie Kirk. And what they said was so, offensive and egregious egregious and didn't stick right with the people of MAGA, that they felt that they should lose their livelihoods, that they should be canceled. You know, the party of non-cancel culture, the party that, you know, thinks that everybody should be able to say whatever they want, even if you disagree, right? No, they don't think that. That's just a hypocritical bullshit that they spew. But again, Tucker Carlson must have missed that whole fucking segment of this party in which that already took place from his own, you know, from his own people there.
Than that ever, and there never will be, because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think. There is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes, not to hurt other people, but to express his views.
All right, this strategy is twofold. Number one, it is self-preservation, because if he wants to have a political future after the passing of Kanks or the passing of the MAGA regime to J.D. Vance or whomever, he sees what they're trying to do. They are using a lot of, like Charlie Kirk's death, for example, as a Reichstag fire style calling to erode civil liberties. And if they concentrate power, nobody will ever be able to puncture inside of leadership. It will be kind of fixed. And it's all going to be operated by these oligarchs that own Little Smokey, the failed drag queen, J.D. Vance. But this is already happening. What Tucker Carlson is scared of right there is this consolidation of power and eroding civil liberties. And a sitting U.S. senator is—
I'm sorry. I don't mean to stop you while you're on the floor, but you don't actually think that he's worried about that, right? Or you don't actively think that he cares about the American way of life or, you know, freedom of speech or anything like that, right? He's just kind of using this as an opportunity to, again, grift and get himself on a bigger platform and maybe get seen out there. Because I don't know. There's no way, shape, or form you're going to get me to believe that he actually cares about, like, the now kicks and fucking, rips to the Constitution and the rights, the erosion of the rights of the people of this country are actually now something that he's worried about, when he this entire time has called for that, has, wanted to implement this regime, has wanted to fucking have this party in charge that is actively responsible for all of those rights being eroded. Right. So I don't know. I'm just kind of a little curious on whether or not we're believing what he's saying. I know I'm not.
Already doing this. Kylie, pop up the tweet. Senator Eric Schmidt says Antifa is a well-coordinated organization with safe houses and money that is laundered internationally.
Antifa is a well-coordinated organization with safe houses and money that is laundered internationally. You guys know where any of these safe houses are? I'm fucking dying to know. Where are these safe houses at, bro? Are they cool? Do they have pool tables and shit? Huh? Yo, fucking hit me with an email, Antifa. What the fuck? Let me know where these houses are at, bro. Goddamn. Can't be having fun without me in these safe houses. I want to be safe. I want to be safe. Oh, that's too much. That is too good.
This is a complete lie, not based on any evidence. This is complete propaganda for the purposes of eroding civil liberties. Moving along, you guys, this is some piping hot tea. Kylie, put up the tweet in the headline. Kash Patel
reportedly clashed with a top intelligence official over looking into the potential foreign ties of suspected killer of Charlie Kirk. Oh, geez. Uh-oh. Candace is going to be all over this one. Is this a Candace special? Oh, geez. Uh-oh. We're in trouble now. Steven Crowder is not going to be happy about this one. Not going to be happy. The fighting will continue. I can't wait to cover it.
Reportedly clashed with a top intelligence officer over looking into the potential foreign ties of the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk. Keystone Cash has hissy fit over Charlie Kirk murder probe. This to me is an absolute bombshell. And I remember right when the murder took place that there was some discussions about out of Utah that other countries were helping with the investigation. And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. This is a domestic issue. Why do we have other countries helping us with this? And then everybody will remember that Benjamin Netanyahu went, like, I think 6 times was the last count, saying that Israel had nothing to do with it, which is really weird thing to just go out and
Oh, no, I'm going to skip ahead to where she brings up this tweet. Ron Filipowski. They must expect a lot of people over there, all over the country, to be really upset about something next year. I wonder what it could be. This is a Jennifer Griffin tweet saying, the Pentagon has ordered National Guard to create quick reaction forces in every state and territory by January that are trained and equipped to respond to riots and civil unrest within the United States. Wow.
And territory by January that are trained and equipped to respond to riots and civil unrest within the U.S., per the Wall Street Journal. Ron Filipowski retweets and says, they must expect a lot of people all over the country to be really upset about something next year. I wonder what that could be. So next year, there are the midterms, and they are prepping and preparing armed forces for that moment. They are not fucking around. This is a moment where the fissures that are occurring in the MAGA movement, where you're seeing some Republican senators vote with Democrats to overturn tariffs, which are illegal taxation on the American public. When they are doing their job.
And then you add that to the fucking, the Republican fucking politicians now kind of, mealy-mouthed and trying to give Donald Trump, an avenue into a third term, right? Let's see here, not to go too deep into it, but let's see if I can find, I think it was this one here. Ready? Going to knowingly and willingly defy the Constitution and break the law, he should be arrested and tried for those crimes. Period. Point blank. End of story. Now, I don't know if you guys, who hasn't seen this, but I'm going to play this Tommy Tuberville clip here from this video, and listen to what he says here. Listen to what Tommy Tuberville says here about Trump's third term, or path to a third term.
Says he's not, but if he says he has some different circumstances that might be able to go around the Constitution, but that's
Trump says he may have some different circumstances to go around the Constitution. Now, are you familiar with the path around the Constitution? I know we can amend, right? I know there can be ratifications and stuff, but as a way to go around, and yeah, don't worry, basic coding, I do my due diligence and rightly out him as being the dumbest member of Congress ever to walk the halls of that facility, for sure. And I actually play in this exact video where Tommy Tuberville, I'll finish this clip out and I'll play where he goes on. He doesn't even know the 3 branches of government, right? So this is the guy talking about ways around the Constitution, the same guy that doesn't know the 3 branches of government. Check this out.
up to him. We got a long way to go before that happens. Well, I think that there's going to have to be an evaluation from President Trump's viewpoint to the Constitution. There'll be a lot of legal aspects to it. Will it happen? It's very unlikely, but don't ever close the book on President Trump.
Now, can you see how they're talking out of both sides of their mouths? Right? See how they're talking out of both sides of the mouth? Well, yeah, it's technically, and the same thing that Donald Trump did, where he came out on Air Force One and was like, it's illegal, it's a shame, it's too bad. Well, you also said that you weren't going to touch the East Wing of the White House. You also said the ballroom was going to be very close to, but not on or touching the East Wing, and there would be no fucking, there would be no construction or demolition needed to the existing facilities there at the East Wing. You also said that. You also said you were going to be the president of peace. You also said you were going to be America first, and that bullshit. You've said a lot of things that you haven't stuck to. So as to why, he's kind of now bringing this up and trying to lull people into a false sense of security by admitting, or at least coming out and acknowledging that this is, unconstitutional or something that he can't do, does not give me or fill me with any trust. Right? It almost gets me to believe there's something going on behind the scenes where he's going to say this now and try to get people to forget about it, or at least, be able to bring up the time that Donald Trump said that he wasn't going to be allowed to do it. And then we're going to see some fucking huge flip, or, some military takeover that seems to be in the works already for midterms. But yeah, Tommy Tuberville, before I forget, let's go on to where Tommy Tuberville doesn't even know his history. Oh yeah, there's this one. No, we'll forget that one. That's where he thinks Sharia law is the biggest problem that we face. But here's this one. 3 branches of government. As a senator, as a Republican senator from Alabama, again, when we look at the education rate in Alabama, not really confusing as to why he might get this answer wrong. But check this out.
Listen to what the former college football coach said when asked if he thought the two parties could find a way to work together in Congress.
You know, our government wasn't set up for one group to have all 3 of branches of government. It wasn't set up that way.
Yeah, and please go ahead. Explain to me, what are those 3 branches of government that you're explaining? Please go ahead.
Or 3 branches, you know, the House, the Senate, and the executive.
The House, the Senate, and the executive, ladies and gentlemen. The House, the Senate, and the executive. The 3 branches of government. Okay. Now, God knows what the answer would be if you asked him to fucking describe the nuclear triad. That would be one hell of a thing. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say you're wrong on that one.
3 branches are, of course, the executive, the legislative, which is both the House and the Senate, and the judiciary.
So just in case that needed to be said. Not only that, but he clearly doesn't know his history either. So check this out. This is where he goes in to say that his grandfather, who liberated Paris, even though, again, it was the Second Armored of the French that technically liberated Paris, yes, followed by, I believe, the 4th Armored Division of the United States. But again, it was the French who originally went into Paris and liberated Paris to begin with. But he says that his grandfather stormed from the beaches of Normandy all the way to Paris fighting socialism. Okay? Fighting socialism. I shit you not. Check this out.
My dad, as you know, I said this last time, he quit school at 16, joined the Army, landed at Normandy at 18, drove a tank across Europe. He said, I've never gotten the look on the people's face in Paris when we liberated Paris from socialism and communism.
I'm honestly... Okay, let's just... Now, ladies and gentlemen, oh, it fucking pisses me off so bad. As like I consider myself such a schmuck, but to know more about history in World War II than a fucking, an active United States politician and the United States senator is just so fucking actively frustrating. To liberate Paris from fucking socialism and communism? Communism. Well, first off, I mean, historically speaking, the communists, the USSR, were technically allies during World War II. You know how we had the whole sent them trucks and equipment and all that stuff, and they actively worked from that side. Well, anyways, but they weren't considered enemies until after World War II and until the Cold War started. Right. So unfortunately, we weren't on the hunt for communists as we went into fucking Paris. We were on the hunt for Nazis. We were on the hunt for fascists is what we were defending against and what we were liberating Paris from. I mean, it's just unbelievable to say that we liberated Paris from fucking socialism and communism. Unreal. Unreal. You know what I mean? So again, that's who we're talking about. Before I let you go, this was something that, let me see if I can put myself. This was something that I did want to talk about, but unfortunately I didn't recognize, or I didn't see this with enough time before I came on the show. I just kind of saw this, about a minute or two before I came on the show. But apparently Graham Plattner had sat down with the Breaking Point's crew and talked about his Blackwater, Pete Hegseth, and being a communist. I'm not sure, but I somehow is going. I'm going to go ahead on a limb and say that this is going to be a rehab tour from Breaking Points to try to kind of back up the man that they were, so behind at one point. But again, I didn't have enough time to dive into it to the extent where we could cover it on the show. But let's get into thanking some people. Just in case you guys want to check that out, I should say, I just pointing that up in case you guys want to check out what he has to say. Maybe some people are still on the fence or, haven't really been up to speed on what's been going on and want to make your own decisions and hear it from his own mouth. I was fucking incredibly disappointed with his responses and his answers given on the Pod Save interview that he did in response to, his Reddit posts and the comments and his tattoos and stuff like that. So again, I just want to give, everybody the opportunity to, to hear it out and make your own decisions and kind of hear it from the horse's mouth. But again, from what I saw from the first couple minutes, it doesn't seem like a very hard hitting or get to the bottom of the answers interview, in my opinion. That's just kind of what I got from the first couple minutes. But if you want to check that out, feel free to check it out just to give you some more information. But all right, let's check out the Venmo here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much to everybody for supporting the show. Thank you for watching Blunt Politics. Once again, I'm Boston Brian. At the end of the show, we like to go around and thank everybody who contributed to the show, either financially or given memberships or any way that it may be. At the end of the show, we make sure to give our highlights and shout outs. So that's what we're going to do at this moment in time. Let's go over to the Venmo, see if anybody was kind enough to shoot over a Venmo, which you can do right up here. All you got to do, take a picture. All you got to do is, send a buck or two. That's all I ask for to support independent media. It goes a long, long way in making sure that, we stay in front of your face and are, getting to be put in front of other people's faces. And again, I'd like to thank Jesse for the opportunity to take over his show and to host his show while he was on his way back from Japan. It was a great honor. It was a great privilege. And again, hopefully I did the channel proud. Anybody that hasn't checked out those videos, please head over to Jesse's channel. Check out those videos. I would love to see those view counts continue to grow. I would love to see his subscriber count continue to grow. And again, anybody here from Jesse's channel that are checking me out from those videos, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Please make sure you hit that like and subscribe to the channel on the way out. First person we're going to thank, though, is going to be Moms. Thank you so much, Moms. I very much appreciate you. Tyran, is that how you say that? Terrain? Terrain. Tiranne. How do you say that? Terrain? Tyrain. Terrain. I used to live on Terrain Ave, but it wasn't spelt that way. But thank you to Terrain. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. Thank you to Teague. Thank you to Damon. Who else? Thank you to Nancy. Thank you to Jenny Faye. And thank you to Michael. Victoria and Linda, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your kind contributions on Venmo. You really are with the Venmo, with the super chats, with the Patreon, and with the memberships you can sign up for just underneath me. That is, again, the backbone of this channel. That is how we stay on the air. That is how I keep food in my belly. So thank you guys for doing your job, doing your part in supporting, again, independent media that has nothing behind paywalls. You don't have to donate $1. You don't have to contribute at all in order to see every single one of my pieces of content, any live show, any interview that I've done, any short, any video, not going to cost you $1. Nothing sold to you, no ads, no corporate backers, nothing like that whatsoever. I rely 100% and solely on the contributions in support of you guys that are watching this channel. So thank you so much to the OGs, and thank you so much to everybody that has contributed throughout the years. What is it? Has it been 2 years yet? I don't even know how long it's been, but throughout the time that we've been on, I really do appreciate it. So let's get into thanking everybody here on the old YouTubes as well. Starting off with Susan. Thank you, Susan. Shout out, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. I really do appreciate your kind contributions. Thank you for giving me the shot and coming back show after show. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Kristen, as well, for the $6.70. Just the most random one that I've ever seen. And I get some random ones, but that's a random amount. I love it. I appreciate it. Shout out to you, and thank you so much for, again, giving me the opportunity and recognizing that it is, the bigger creators on this platform and on all of the other platforms that have the ability to raise the profile of the smaller channels, the smaller podcasts, the smaller creators that they think are, putting out the truth, that are giving good information, that are, informing people, entertaining people, keeping people involved. So I again, thank Jesse for, stepping up to the plate and doing just that, putting his money where his mouth is and giving me the opportunity, because, it's great to see. And I think a lot more people should be a lot more platforms, a lot more of these bigger platforms and channels should be more willing to put smaller creators on their channels to get them out in front of people. So Kristen, thank you so much. Susan, thank you so much. Slacks, thank you so much. Shout out to you. Love right back to you, my brother. Appreciate you for being an OG. Thank you so much for your kind comments on all the Jesse videos as well. I made sure to see and thank you for those. Shout out to you. Shout out to Carl as well. Howdy, Boston Brian. Good to see you at your clocks back. Setting your clocks back. Love you, brother. Right back at you, Carl. Thank you so much for that $20. That's very kind of you. Very nice of you. Please tell the pup I said hello as well. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Ricky, let's go. Pretty Ricky. all I can think of when I hear that. Thank you and congratulations for being a member for 18 months. She says, hi, everyone. Let's keep doing good things. We are all in this together. Love to Brian, Mel, and all the mods, and especially the whole Lobster family. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that, Ricky. And congratulations on being here for 18 months. I appreciate your loyalty and I appreciate your support. I really do. It goes a long, long way. I really. Oh, and look at you right after that. Gifting 10 memberships. You guys are fucking unbelievable. You really are. Thank you so much. Shout out to you. Please make sure we're thanking everybody contributing, thanking everybody gifting memberships, the people in the chat. That goes for Ricky, that goes for Rox, that goes for JD. Thank you so much. That goes for Mark as well. Anybody else contributing with gifted memberships? It goes a long way. We're on our way to 1,000 memberships here. We're above and beyond 14,000. We're on our way to 15,000 subscribers here on Blunt Politics. So that's going to be a huge milestone. Hopefully we can get to that sooner than later. And thank you again for the push from all of you Dollamorians coming over here from Jesse's videos. I really do appreciate you giving me that extra push, that extra nudge in the subscription base. It does go a long way to help and show YouTube that people care about the channel. So, all you people gifting memberships, Rox, Mark, Ricky, JD, thank you so much. Thank you, Maggie, for becoming a new YouTube member. It goes a long way. It really does. And people signing up, becoming a member, it's the backbone of the community. It really is. So thank you, Maggie. I appreciate you. Again, Babyface, thank you so much for your $5 contributions. Great show. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Captain PJ, what up, my dude? Great job, Brian, keeping us updated on this dismantling of the Constitution. We must all stand united and defeat this fascist regime once and for all. Amen, PJ. Well said, and I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for your kind contributions. Kimchi! What's happening, Kimchi? What's going on? Share and hit that like, please. I appreciate that request, and congratulations on being here for a year. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your loyalty. That's great to see. Great to see. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Shout out to Liz as well. Sounds like they could declare somebody's house an Antifa safe house and confiscate it, though. I mean, again, this is a lot of where the questions lead to, right? Whether it's about the illegal Venezuelan strikes or, what they're doing with ICE or, the rhetoric surrounding Antifa. Where does it end? Like where does it end? Are they going to start killing people that they deem drug dealers on the streets of the United States? Again, we've already talked about, hey, United States citizens being rounded up by ICE and beaten and kicked and dragged and deported. These Antifa safe houses, if they determine, some of these people are living together and they can somehow get around the, the judicial system and determine it to be a safe house, what laws and what rights does it give them to enact their fucking brutal fucking power? So where does this stuff end is a very good question. And, is the basically where these things typically lead to when you're talking about them in a discussion. Like, okay, where does it end then? So thank you. And you're 100% right, Liz. Thank you, JD. Shout out to you. Great job subbing for Dollamore. I appreciate that, JD. Thank you for your support. Thank you for checking out those videos. I really do. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough for, heading over there, all the people from Blunt Politics, and showed support and watched the videos, gave them a like, threw a comment on the channels. It goes a long, long way. And believe me, I went down the list to make sure I recognized and thanked anybody that was on there. And I'll continue to do so as you guys continue to watch those videos. So JD, thank you so much. Vinny, thank you so much. Masha, shout out to you. Thank you so much. Vinny, I really do appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for the 10. Masha, thank you so much for the 2. Arizona Sunflowers, thank you so much for the 20. Love you, Brian. Sundays at my church with Boston Brian. I appreciate Kate Mel. I appreciate Kate Mel too for all she does. You both keep it real. Kate, who's Kate? Or is that a typo? I'm gonna roll with just Mel on that one. I appreciate Mel too for all she does. You both keep it real. Thank you so much, Arizona Sunflowers. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate your kind contributions. Shout out to you. Thank you for being a part of the backbone of this community. Really do appreciate that. And thank you for the shout out to Mel as well. And rounding it out today is Wayno. Wayno. Appreciate that, brother. The best fucking stash in the business Wayno has. And thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships, my dude. Goes a long way in helping this channel. Shout out to you. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your contributions. And thank you very much, all of the chat, for what you guys do. Benny Loco, Allie, Arizona Sunflowers, Tiff, Becky, Jim, Gamer. Appreciate you guys. Rox, Orb Bruma, Dame Dog, Rob Law, Wayno, like I said, Salt of the Earth. Appreciate you guys. I really do. Sticking around, being here for so long, contributing in so much to the show, supporting the show so much. I can't say thank you guys enough. DPD, that goes for all of you guys as well. Becky, who else is in there? Susie, Laura, Alyosha, Who else we got in there? Let's go. Cats and Jam, Yakov. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you appreciate something that you were hearing, something that you were, seeing on the channel. Please give us a subscription. Throw us a subscribe. Throw us a big subscribe. It's free to hit that and the like button. And again, thank you to everybody that went the extra mile and contributed to the show. I will see you guys on the Tuesday show. We do 4 days of live streaming here on Blunt Politics. I'll be sure to put out the schedule on my YouTube channel so that anybody new to the channel can see when we'll be on. We have today's Sunday show. We got our shows on Tuesday here. I'll put it on the screen. Might as well put it on the screen so you guys can see it as I'm talking about it, right? Would probably make sense. So we got the Sunday show you're watching now, Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be 11 a.m. here on the West Coast. Then we got 2 shows on Wednesday, one at 1 p.m. Eastern, the other at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then Thursday show at 2 p.m. Again, same as the Tuesday show. And again, those are all Eastern times. So please make sure you check it out. Hit that notification bell. And again, hit that like on the way out. Goes a long way. Helps show YouTube that you actually care about the show. And I really do appreciate it. Like I always say, get out of your seats, get into the streets, find your nearest protest, find your nearest rally, ladies and gentlemen. Stay proud, stay loud, stay aggressive, but keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you're staying safe out there. We're really going to ride this momentum into the midterms. Let's fucking use all of this evidence, all of the ammunition that we have against the Trump regime, all of the evidence that we have to prove that the policies and the benefits to the society of the American people are much more beneficial if they elect, positive left-leaning politicians, people on the Democratic side of the aisle. And again, it's only with your help and your contributions that we continue to stay on the air and continue to do just that. So thank you guys. Hit that like on the way out. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I'll catch you on the next one. Let's fucking go. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And somewhere around here is an exit.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular.
Builds the wall the way he built Trump Towers. He'll be using illegal immigrant labor to do it.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Refer to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Eating the dogs. You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your...
Or go fuck yourself.
No, get those lights off. off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off.
Or go fuck yourself.
I am the chosen one.
Or go fuck yourself.
Call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Or go fuck yourself.
Yesterday's a hard word for me.
Or go fuck yourself.
Words, I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid.
Or go fuck yourself.